Inside this cavernous room, the air is heavy and still. Rows of hundreds of identical wooden desks stretch toward the back wall, each holding a student frozen in the silence before a life-altering test. Arjun sits among them. The moment he peels back the cover of his test booklet, he encounters the universal nightmare. His mind has gone completely, terrifyingly blank. For Arjun, this engineering exam is a narrow exit point for his entire family's future. Months of sacrifice and every spare resource they owned have been poured into his education, all funneling down to this single morning. The sheer weight of those expectations creates a physical pressure. It bears down on him, physically preventing his brain from accessing the information he knows is there. When the stakes involve the survival of your loved ones, an exam loses its academic character. It becomes a psychological pressure cooker with no obvious way out. Arjun's body begins to fail. His hands shake so violently he can barely hold his pen. A cold sweat coats his palms, and his heart races against his ribs. This is a biological shutdown. A sudden surge of adrenaline is physically obstructing the brain's cognitive recall centers, prioritizing survival over complex mathematics. While the students around him fill their pages with calculations, Arjun is trapped in total isolation, watching the clock drain away his family's hopes. In this state of psychological lockdown, all the prior studying and preparation in the world are effectively out of reach. Eventually, Arjun reaches a point where he can no longer fight the panic. He closes his eyes and lets his hands fall to his sides in an admission of total weakness. He whispers a short, desperate plea. "Jesus, I can't do this alone." He lets go of the need to force a solution through his own strength. A sensory shift immediately follows. A cool breeze moves through the stifling heat of the hall, cutting through the oppressive atmosphere. He remains still, allowing the outside intervention to take the place of his own frantic, failing efforts. A figure moves into Arjun's line of sight. A man in a simple white shirt walks slowly down the narrow aisle, moving with a silence that ignores the hard floor. As the man passes Arjun's desk, he reaches out. He doesn't say a word, but offers a gentle, brief tap on the wooden surface. The contact anchors Arjun back to the present. The internal gridlock clears, allowing the stored information to flow freely again. Complex formulas and theorems begin to illuminate his mind. They appear with the clarity of floodlights turning on in a dark stadium. Arjun enters a state of absolute focus. He begins to write, bypassing his previous anxiety and completing the difficult engineering problems in record time. The visitor reconnected Arjun to his own hard-earned knowledge, moving past the biological barrier fear had constructed over months of preparation. Once the exam ends, Arjun heads to the front of the hall. He wants to thank the man in white who helped him find his composure. He speaks to the official proctor, who looks at him with genuine confusion. "No one has walked down this aisle but me," the official says. Arjun realizes the visitor was the greatest teacher. The event moves from a psychological recovery to a spiritual intervention. The physical reality of the empty aisle confirms that the help he received transcended the natural rules of the exam hall. This illustrates the power of surrender. We often assume that focus requires more self-control, but true clarity often comes from letting go of the burden of carrying expectations alone. Arjun's mind found its way back to his education when he stopped relying on his failing strength, setting down the weight of his family's future. This faith acts as an active agent of clarity, organizing the fragments of a panicked mind into a functional structure. When the pressure of the world leaves you paralyzed and blank, leaning on a higher power is the mechanism that transforms that panic into a breakthrough.